Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
It's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here today. It is the 19th of August, 2014. Our sun sign is in Leo. Our moon sign is in Gemini. So we have a Leo sun, fire, Gemini moon, air. So fire and air are the two elements that are working together. Fire are ideas, creativity. Air is words and action. So we have our ideas, and we have the way in which we're going to express these ideas, hopefully. Because we have the fire, the water, the air, and earth moving through our lives. We have these ideas, we have these feelings, we have expressions, and then we have form that is created from all of these things. So the Gemini is about communication. It's about our mind, because we live in a mental universe. So this mental universe expresses itself in the world through actions, through words. So the more that we understand this process, the better. And since this is a mental universe, the more we understand the process, the better we understand ourselves and the universe as a whole. All of these things are bits and pieces that will teach us ways of the world and the universe that are very important. So with that underlying subconscious moon of Gemini, under the surface, we want to be able to communicate. We want to express ourselves. We want these words and these actions to come out. But outside in the world around us, we're being hit by this Leo energy, this fire, this creativity. Now, fire can be great passion, but fire can also be very warlike. There's a lot of tensions in the world right now. The heat is turned up. People are feeling the heat and being somewhat agitated by what's going on. And we see all the problems in the world. We're going to address those in a little bit. Got some things to say about what's going on there. So we could see the fire, how it's affecting things. Later this evening we have the sun sign, the fire, and the moon sign, the air, are going to be in a aspect with each other called a sextile, in which there's a nice good harmonious flow of energy between them. So between the ideas that we have and the way in which we express ourselves, the words we're speaking. Also, Gemini has within it the idea of discernment, learning to discern bad ideas from good ideas, something that we really need to address. Something we need to address. We have this wounded healer that shortly after midnight formed a square with Gemini. The wounded healer. This is an important lesson for us. You see, there's situations going on in the world right now where others can look at themselves like the wounded healer and think of themselves as being a victim. Victimization is a real problem we have in this world. We have to learn to look past the wounded healer in ourselves. Stop thinking of ourselves as victims. When we can look past the wounded healer and find out that the wounded healer really isn't someone that is wounded as bad as one thinks, we start to see things a little differently. So we have a problem when we look at ourselves as being victims, and we don't think we're worthy of having things in the world, and it throws the mix, throws this energetic balance that we have out of whack. So we really need to pay attention how we're looking at ourselves, that we're not putting ourselves in a position of looking at ourselves as such. We also have to look at a new perspective, because just prior to that aspect, we have Uranus, which is a new perspective. We have to look at things differently. We have to look differently the way in which we're expressing ourselves, communicating ourselves. Okay? So a lot of things to consider today with the mind, Gemini being that unconscious. The numerology today, according to the Gregorian calendar of August 19th, is a number 7. Is that right? Let me just double check this. Is that right? 7. 7 is the number for today. Okay, so we've all dealt with the number 7 before. Okay, so we know what the number 7 is. The chariot, emotions. The charioteer puts on the armor. 7 is a number that's involved with so many different aspects in our life. 7 days of the week is one certain area. 7 is a number of victory on the tree of life. And so here's how we've arrived at the number 7. 8 plus 1 plus 9 plus 2014, all that adds up to a 16. 1 plus 6 equals 7. Okay, so that's our numerology today. Now, we can look at numerology for a number of things. We could look at it for the day according to the Gregorian calendar. We could look at numerology for the Jewish calendar. We could look at the numerology for many different things. Okay, and we'll always find something to learn from it, because numerology, numbers run through everything. Every single thing that's out there, numbers are running through. We may not see them, but they are playing a part, and the more we embark upon the study, the more we begin to understand the numerical aspect. But math and science have proven these things over and over again. So a lot of different ways we can look at numerology, and we need to find the way that's going to be the most effective for us on a daily basis. Sometimes we don't have to go into such detail. Sometimes we can be a bit more general looking at what's going on. For us, the Gregorian calendar is a calendar that most of the world is using, and it's an agreement. We've agreed that we're going to use this system. We're going to abide by this system of time. And so, as such, we have built a structure around us, an invisible structure that we are following according to. If we understand what this invisible structure is, then we can be able to say, okay, here's how we're going to manipulate or maneuver our way through the structure that we've created. In this case, the Gregorian calendar and the numerology of the Gregorian calendar, to help us understand. But then we also look at the other calendars, the Jewish calendar, the Mayan calendar, other systems, other ways to understand that we aren't just trapped in the Gregorian. Gregorian is just one system of looking at time. Okay, so we need to look at things differently. The Tree of Life certainly teaches us a lot about looking at time in many different ways. And the Tree of Life is always about getting back to the center point, this middle pillar of equilibrium. So today, for the highlights with the tarot, the aspects we've got the Leo right here, we have Gemini right here, and we have 7 right down here. Okay, so let's see, what do we want to look at today? Which one of these do we want to look at today? How about if we take a look instead of a card? Let's look at this. This is the Emerald Tablet of Hermes. This is very important information that ties it all together as well. Kind of goes with the pattern on the trestle board. Pattern on the trestle board, remember the truths about the self that relate to all of these sephira. Here's the Emerald Tablet Hermes. True, without falsehood, certain and most true. That which is above is as that which is below, and that which is below is as that which is as above. For the performance of the miracles of the one thing, and as all things are from one, by the mediation of one, so all things have their birth from this one thing by adaptation. The sun is its father, the moon is its mother, the wind carries it in its belly, its nurse is the earth. This is the father of all perfection or consummation of the whole world. Its power is integrating if it be turned into earth. Thou shalt separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, suavely and with great ingenuity. It ascends from earth to heaven, and ascends again to earth, and receives the power of the superiors and of the inferiors. So thou hast a glory of the whole world. Therefore let all obscurity flee before thee. This is the strong force of all forces, overcoming every subtle and penetrating every solid thing. So the world was created. Hence were all wonderful adaptations, of which this is the manner. Therefore am I called Hermes Trismegistus, having the three parts of philosophy of the whole world. What I have to tell is completed concerning the operation of the sun. A lot of information there. A lot of information. You need to read through that, meditate on it, contemplate this, because you hear that there are words that are in here that are words that you hear in the mystical Kabbalah, words that we've heard in the Kabbalion or in the Sefer Yetzirah, or just through the various different readings and studies of this. So this is a bit of information coming from Hermes, master magician, hermetic sciences, Hermes. There's a connection there, and as you contemplate, you will understand what that connection is. The current moon phase is a waning moon, 29% of the way full. Almost back to the new moon. This week, let's see the sky for tonight. If you're on the Earth's mid-northern latitudes, bright Vega passes close by your zenith, just as night becomes fully dark. Whenever you see Vega as its closest to straight up, you know that Sagittarius, with the deep sky riches, is at its highest in the south. Mayan Oracle, we're at a 7-tone day. It's called the resonant tone of attunement. We're right over here at the 7th position. Today, the kin, the day is the Skywalker, guided by the serpent. It's that red energy, passion, life force energy, if it's channeled properly. A channel in order to explore inspiring wakefulness. I seal the output of space with the resonant tone of attunement. I am guided by the power of life force. Space weather, our solar wind is currently at 396.3 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is a little unsettled. We're at a 3 at the moment. Nothing much in the way of coronal holes affecting us. Geomagnetic storm activity is 40% chance in the mid-latitudes, 30 in the upper latitudes. M-class flare possibilities drop back down to 10%, and X-class at 1. And over on the Jewish calendar, today is 23 Av. The daily thought for 23 Av is called reuniting. When man and woman were first formed, they were a single being, and then God divided them apart so that they could achieve a higher union. What is higher? Why is higher? Why is it higher? Because now it is through their own struggle. That is true oneness, when two choose to be one. Alright, so there you have it. That is our cosmic weather. Gets us started for today. I'll be right back with the UFO news. Here we go.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. Our first story is going to take us up to Mars. This is Scott C. Waring. Buildings on Mars Google Maps. All right, we know that Scott does a lot of looking and finds a lot of interesting things up here. First glance, I would have to say these kind of stick out, as do. But let's see. Notice the above screenshot has buildings in the shadows that matches the buildings. 100% proof these structures on Mars are real. Here's a link to the source. I was looking on over the online Google Mars map and found an area of interest. In this location of the photo is the color and not infrared. Also, NASA has not edited this area of the map very well. There's a lot of structures near the shadows of the mountains and along the tops of the craters. These structures are so well lit up you can see that they are solid objects on the surface. Okay. Very interesting shots. And that one has some sort of interesting images and shapes to it, huh? One such crater with a structure on the side shows a shadow that matches the buildings. This particular crater is 100% proof that these buildings are actually there and not mistakes in the photo. Okay. And of course, here's a 9-minute video in which he goes through and explains all of these. So go ahead and listen to this video. This is where Scott really describes in more detail how he came about this. You can see he's showing a lot of images. So check this out. But I just leave the link for you, First Contact Radio. Over here we have a story that says, oh, we talked about this one yesterday. This was the David Armstrong. Okay, so I got a repeat link. Jump ahead. Jupiter and Venus to form spectacular duet of planetary dance could lead to speculation of UFO sightings. Sky gazers will be rewarded with a dazzling sight early Monday morning as the two brightest planets will form a spectacular double star on the northeastern horizon. Yahoo News reported appearing only 2 degrees apart, less than half the width of the little finger held out at arm's length. Jupiter and Venus can be witnessed shortly before sunrise around 5 a.m. In the eastern United States, the two planets' starlight will join together to form the visual effect of a double star. This phenomenon, known as the conjunction, will be the closest one since 2000 and can best be seen about 30 to 60 minutes before the sunrise in your local time. Well, this article came out on Tuesday, today, so I'm guessing it's talking about this upcoming Monday. It says, however, their combined brightness and low position in the sky might spark sightings of UFOs and could keep military, police, and Ministry of Defense switchboards busy. They will be so close together that it's going to be quite a striking sight. Robin Scagill, Vice President of Society of Popular Astronomy, said undoubtedly people will mistake them for a UFO, especially being so low down. Alright, so and it says the planets will appear to be closest together from Earth on the morning of the 18th. Well, okay. So apparently it was the other day. So this article here, which came out on the 19th, talking about something that's going to happen on the 18th. Stay late. Okay, over here we have 1904 USS Supply UFO Sightings. There's little doubt that what is described here as remarkable meteor sighting was in fact a remarkable UFO sighting witnessed by multiple crews of the USS Supply while in the Pacific Ocean off San Francisco. 3 members of the crew of the USS Supply at 6:10 a.m. local time sighted on echelon formation of 3 objects which appeared near the horizon below the clouds, moving directly towards the ship. As they approached, the UFOs began soaring, rose above the cloud layer, and were observed climbing into space, still echelon formation. The lead object was egg-shaped and about the size of 6 suns. The other 2 were smaller and appeared perfectly round. They remained visible to the men on board for more than 3 minutes. Of course, we know today that meteors do not travel in perfect formation. They change course, altitude, or speed, and they certainly do not make circular maneuvers. These craft went below and above a stable cloud cover, which is impossible to do unless they were intelligently controlled. Okay, we have a lot more to the article. Got some pictures here of what they saw. Alright. Alright, next. Roswell. It says the most famous and important Roswell UFO sighting was in Roswell, New Mexico. This incident was marked with a widespread publicity owing to the media coverage and participation of a government to deviate the attention from the Roswell UFO sighting. On the evening of the 3rd of July, 1947, When the first sighting occurred, it was observed by Dan Wilmot, together with his wife, who was seated in the house, when they saw a disc-shaped bright object traversing swiftly across the sky over them. Dan Wilmot claims that the speed of the UFO was between 400 to 500 miles per hour and quickly traversed his skyline from the southeast before disappearing to the northwest. The UFO was estimated to be around 2,025 feet and had lights glowing from it. Details given by Dan Wilmot were released to the public by the International UFO Museum in 1997. After the incident, there was thunderstorms in the area and the residents saw nothing that night. However, some claimed to hear explosion, but that it was presumed to be the result of the stormy weather and not the UFO. The following morning, a ranch foreman in the area went to visit the ranch and found unusual debris, which he assumed came from an airplane rather than light. The plane was rather light, though tough. At the same time, Dan Wilmot also informed the Chavez County Sheriff George Wilcox, who thought it was an Army-related event, and notified the Roswell Army Base, which is an elite intelligence unit of the Army. The airfield officer came in the ranch and collected debris and took it off the field, with the officer in charge issuing a press release that a crash disc had been recovered and made a spectacular public interest, which was countered by another Army official who said it was just a weather balloon. This is, of course, of the highest interest of the incident of Davis, who was a young morgue attendant offering services to the Army. When the debris was collected, asked him of the availability of the small caskets that could handle bodies exposed to the atmosphere discharge as a result of the suspicions. He went to the hospital, where he was dismissed but managed to see some weird stuff. He tried reaching out to a nurse he knew and helped doctors of the hospital conduct autopsy. The nurse informed him of some of the weird small people, but when he tried to reach out to her, she was not found, and she was transferred to England. Most information of the incident is unavailable, as all the people involved and the eyewitness disappeared or vanished immediately at the time of the questions startled being asked. Okay, so we know the story. Good information. Here we have a new series. It's called In Search of Aliens. It's making a link available so you can check it out. It says, ever since Plato first wrote about the mysterious island of Atlantis, it has captured the imagination of adventurers and academics alike. Was Atlantis merely a myth, or could it be actually existed in the remote past? Did it just disappear as Plato described, and could it be the home of an advanced civilization that created the human race? Ancient astronaut theorist Giorgio Tsoukalos explores the most recent discoveries related to the centuries-old story of Atlantis. By investigating a series of clues, Tsoukalos endeavors to narrow down the possible location of Atlantis. Could evidence be found on a strange egg-shaped stone in Portugal? What secrets can be uncovered on the island of Santorini, Greece? Can Atlantis have been an empire with a network that stretched around the world, or was it something entirely different? Something else that perhaps came from the stars? Well, if you click on this link here, it should take you to a video, and the video itself, what's the length of the video? I think it's the full episode right here. So anyway, check it out, Giorgio's new show. And here we have UK's latest crop circles. That's a pretty intricate one. Here are 3 crop circles from the United Kingdom, August 12th, 13th, and 16th. First one, the 12th, Mixton near Etchdale-Hampton, Wiltshire. Nice simple circle with something crossing it. Looks like it has some sparks or something coming off of it. This was the next day, the 13th. This was the very intricate one. What do we got here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 on these circles. And then Nettle Hill, Dorset, UK. Again, very interesting. That one definitely looks like it has an eye right in the middle of it, huh? Pretty fascinating. So check it out. Just one thing just to realize. I know that in this day and age, there's a lot of talk about the all-seeing eye and how the Illuminati uses it and blah, 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 blah. Look, before there was an Illuminati, there was God. Before there was Illuminati, there was angels, and there were all of these other beings that used and understood symbology. So the symbol of the eye, it's not a symbol that originated with the Illuminati. We'll just say that they hijacked the symbol. And then fear has kept alive the idea that this is an Illuminati symbol because they've used it on their Illuminati tools. But it's no more theirs than anything else that you pick up and, put your name on. This is mine. It's not theirs. So when you look at the all-seeing eye, when you look at this, don't always get so caught up in the fact that this is some dark demonic thing and it only means something related to the Illuminati. We have to remember that all of these symbols that are being used were used a long time ago before the Illuminati ever were in existence. Okay? That was it. All right, let me jump away just for a moment to get things set up here. I will be right back. Stay tuned.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. Oh, shit.
It really does help if I turn my microphone on. Then you can hear me. Okay, I have a couple of comments I want to make on something about what's going on in the world. We don't want to turn a blind eye to what is happening, but we don't want to get caught up in the fear of it. We want to understand. A lot of craziness in the world, and a lot of this craziness that takes place is taking place because of the information people are being given. We have a country that turns on the news, watches television, looks to find out what's going on in the world on a daily basis. A lot of people understand that the mainstream media does not serve them, does not give them good information, so they go online like we're all doing here, and we're sharing information with each other. That way we can understand, and there's a lot of alternative sites that are out here doing exactly this. But there's still a lot of people who aren't watching and looking for the alternative media, so they're going to the regular channels. Well, here's a good image that really kind of sums up a lot of it. This is an image I found over at Jeff Rense. And if you haven't made it over to Rense.com, you should check out. There's a lot of great information there on a regular basis, on a daily basis. Okay, so this is a great picture here. And this sums it up here. We've got Fox News, NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, BBC. If you notice, they all form the head of this snake here. And then you got Reuters and the AP and the Rothschild family, and of course the symbol we come to recognize as or for Israel. So we have all of these things locked in here together. So when media comes out, all of these channels is what's putting the information out. These are the main channels. But these channels are all telling lies, 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 and more lies. And it's not too difficult to go online and to find out about all the lies that is being told. So on a daily basis, instead of being told what's really happening, you're being misinformed. Okay? Misinformed. So some of the situations where you're being misinformed about are about what's happening in the world, like down in Ferguson. Okay? It's a tragic situation that happened in Ferguson. A young man died. A young man that had an opportunity to go on to college and to rise above his situation. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. He didn't make it out. And now there's a whole lot of controversy about how it happened. And there's a whole battle that's taking place that this is becoming a racial issue. But here's the trick. The media is playing people, because none of this has anything to do with racism. You know what this has to do with? Police abuse of power. Because all across the United States of America, police have been abusing their power. And people, men and women, of all races, of all colors, have been abused by the police for some time now. The media is seeing this because the media is starting to get abused. The media is also starting to wonder, why does the police have all of this military gear? Yet alternative media has been talking for the last 2 years about all of the militarization going on across this country. We have a situation where Robin Williams passed away, and we hear all the story about the suicide that went on. But what we're not hearing about are stories about the drugs and the possible medication that drove him to his state of mind. Now, this is just one good example, because the tragic thing that happened with Robin Williams has happened with many people across this country. They're being given drugs, and then the drugs are leading them to bad situations. The mainstream media is not telling people about this. So we've come to understand in 2 situations now, the mainstream media is pushing racism when there's not a racist issue to push. They are not telling people about the dangers of the drugs that are killing people, literally killing people. So we have to assume by their actions that they're not out to help the people or inform them for any way, shape, or form. So the question is, who are they out there to benefit? Well, very simple. The corporations. The corporations that they have become, that have grown so big they don't care about the people. That's who they're serving, not the average Joe. And so as these situations in the world escalate, we need to understand who's the ones escalating them, so we don't get caught up in the situation. Remember in the Kybalion it talks about the principle of rhythm, and as we understand what is the rhythm going on in life, that we can step away and step forward so we don't get caught up in it. This is one of these situations. There's a lot of tension in the air. Leo, fire, a lot of fire around. And when that fire energy gets in people, it can be very creative or it can be very anger oriented. And that's what's going on. We have a lot of anger in the air, a lot of confusion. So we have this Gemini, this words, these actions that are being expressed. Let's make sure that who's pushing the buttons knows what they're talking about, because right now we have media pushing the buttons on all sorts of things. And we need to understand what the situation is and what it isn't. We have an administration that is corrupt, that has made sure that areas of them that go and look into crimes is corrupt, and the judicial system is corrupt. Everything is broken. We have a media which seems to be surprised by some of the activities of the president, yet all one has to do is look at his past history to see that this man is not an American citizen with the same ideals of an American citizen. The writing's on the wall. Anyone who has been paying attention to this show or other alternative media for the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, understands what's really going on behind the scenes. It's only those who are turning on these mainstream channels that are being fooled. And when people are being fooled, they're missing out on real information. Here's one story, a real story. Doesn't make it to the mainstream because this isn't dealing with a big pharmaceutical company. It says another cancer victim saved with cannabis oil. A father battling cancer claims cannabis helped cure him of the disease. Trevor Smith, 54, was diagnosed with bladder cancer in 2012. Doctors told him without immediate surgery to remove his bladder, prostate, and lymph nodes, followed by chemotherapy, he would be dead within 2 years. But worried about the quality of life after such a radical surgery, he decided to try alternative therapies and began taking cannabis oil after learning about it online. Trevor Smith was diagnosed with bladder cancer in 2012. Doctors told him without immediate surgery, he would be dead within 2 years. So he claims that 10 weeks later, despite doctors' warnings about delayed treatment, the cancer had not spread to any of the organs. This meant it could be lasered away in a far less invasive procedure, and the father of 3 has now been cancer-free for a year. Okay, this is the kind of information that the media should be talking about, because this information affects everyone. Yet the media, who is in bed with the pharmaceutical companies, because they're just spewing out their corporate BS, are not letting people really know what's going on. So instead, they're going to pump out the drugs out there that you got a stomach ache, take this. It might give you cancer or some other lymphoma or leukemia, or it could give you diarrhea or bloating or this or that, but your original problem will be gone. I mean, geez, what kind of stupidity is this? That the drugs that are being pumped out there are killing people, and yet we're not hearing about it. And it's happening all across the spectrum of America. It's happening with soldiers. It's happening with housewives. It's happening with fathers. It's happening with actors. It's happening with kids. We need to take a look at this and understand the problem is much bigger, and we need to look at what's going on with the pharmaceutical companies and why they are pumping out this poison as they are doing. Because their poison is going out, and in some cases driving those who are taking it to extreme situations and circumstances where perhaps they kill themselves. And when one really looks into the pharmaceutical issue, you'll find that there's many cases where someone has committed suicide after taking these pills, enough to realize that there's a problem. So whether it's the drugs that are being covered up by the media, or the non-racist issues that they're trying to make racist issues, or the political agendas, whatever it is, we need to, on a whole, wake up. Now, so many people in society, I know that there's times when we really want to see everybody wake up, but is that really a reality? It would be awesome, wouldn't it? It would be like utopian, a utopian idea. But with billions of people on the planet at all different levels of their learning process, it seems that that's not necessarily something that we're going to achieve. It seems that there's going to be pockets of wisdom and information, and we're all going to learn, because there's going to come a time when this return is going to happen that we've heard about for such a long time. There's going to be a time, and when it does, everybody is going to be where they're going to be at their particular place of learning. If this is a classroom, if we were to assign classes to Earth, everything like we do in school from kindergarten on up, at the time when a return occurs, there's going to be a variety of different levels of education that people will have attained at that period of time. And so we have to understand not everybody's going to be at the same understanding of what's going on. And that seems to be part of the process. You know, we learn, those get to the graduation point, they graduate, the new class comes in, and maybe that's simply how it works. And this has just been happening this way for a long time, this process of souls being educated. So throughout time, we've had books, stories, prophecies that have helped us to understand what is taking place. The Book of Enoch is one of these books that we've been looking at. It is the book that was written by Enoch after his visitation with the angelic kingdom. See, Enoch was taken up. We hear about him in the Bible. It says Enoch was taken up. He walked with God. And then we don't hear anything more about Enoch. We know only that he is a relative of Noah. But that's really it. Well, this book of Enoch is called the Forbidden Book of Angels. It's a book that almost made it into the Bible, but the book of Revelation won out because there was a discrepancy on which book they were going to put in. The book of Enoch starts off talking about the returning of the spiritual hierarchy, the spiritual kingdom. And when that spiritual kingdom returns, the ones who are going to be protected are going to be the elect, the chosen. The ones who are going to be adversely affected are going to be the wicked and the godless. They're going to be removed. So right off the bat, this brings us a promise. It lets us know about the challenges that we're going through, that we're going to be able to get through them, but that we are going to have some help. Now, we need to help ourselves as well, and that's part of what we're taught through all of this. One is to help us understand our place in this whole picture, to realize that we're a piece of the puzzle. We need not get so high and mighty that we're something bigger than what we are, because in the perspective of things, we're one of many who are moving through life. And so when we get in perspective that we're part of a team and we work together as part of a universal cosmic team member, we find that life flows in a different way for all of us. So here we have the book of Enoch and all these visions that Enoch is having. And where we've come to today is we've gone through the first group of chapters here, Enoch's journey through earth and Sheol, and now we're beginning today the parables. It says the second vision which he saw, the vision of wisdom, which Enoch, the son of Jared, the son of Mahalalel, the son of Canaan, the son of Enos, the son of Seth, the son of Adam, saw, and this is the beginning of the words of wisdom which I lifted up my voice to speak, and to say to those which dwell on earth, Hear ye, men of old time, and see ye that come after the words of the Holy One, which I will speak before the Lord of the spirits. It were better to declare them only to the men of old time, but even from those that come after, that we will not withhold the beginning of wisdom. Till the present day such wisdom has never been given by the Lord of spirits as I have received, according to my insight, according to the good pleasure of the Lord of spirits, by whom the lot of eternal life has been given to me. Now 3 parables were imparted to me, and I lifted up my voice and recounted them to those that dwell on the earth. The first parable, when the congregation of the righteous shall appear, and the sinners shall be judged for their sins, and shall be driven from the face of the earth. And when the righteous one shall appear before the eyes of the righteous, whose elect works hang upon the Lord of spirits, and light shall appear to the righteous and the elect who dwell on the earth, when there will be dwelling of the sinners, and where the resting place of those who have denied the Lord of spirits. It has been good for them if they had never been born. When the secrets of the righteous and the revealed, and the sinners judged, and the godless driven from their presence of the righteous and the elect, from that time those that possess the earth shall no longer be powerful and exalted, and they shall not be able to behold the face of the holy, for the Lord of the spirits has caused his light to appear on the face of the holy, righteous, and the elect. Then shall the kings and the mighty perish, and be given unto the hands of the righteous and the holy, and thenceforward none shall seek for themselves mercy for the Lord of spirits, for their life is at an end. And it shall come to pass in those days that the elect and the holy children will descend from the high heavens, and their seed will become one with the children of men. And in those days Enoch received books of zeal and wrath, and books of disquiet and expulsion. And mercy shall not be accorded to them, saith the Lord of spirits. And in those days a whirlwind carried me off from the earth, and set me down at the end of the heavens. And there I saw another vision, the dwelling place of the holy, and the resting place of the righteous. Here mine eyes saw the dwellings of his righteous angels, and their resting places with the holy. And they petitioned and interceded and prayed for the children of men, and the righteousness flowed before them as water, and mercy like a dew upon the earth. Thus it is amongst them forever and ever. And in that place mine eyes saw the elect one of righteousness and of faith. And I saw his dwelling place under the wings of the lords of the spirit. And the righteousness shall prevail in his days, and the righteous and the elect shall be without number before him forever and ever. And all the righteous and the elect shall him be strong as fiery lights, and out of their mouths shall be full of blessing. And their lips extol the name of the Lord of spirits, and righteousness before him shall never fail, and uprightness shall never fail before him. There I wish to dwell, and my spirit long for that dwelling place. And there herefore hath been my portion, for so has it been established concerning me before the Lord of spirits. In those days I praise and exalt the name of the Lord of the spirits with blessings and praise, because he hath destined me for blessing and glory according to the good pleasure of the Lord of spirits. For a long time my eyes regarded that place, and I blessed him and praised him, saying, Blessed is he, and may he be blessed from the beginning and forevermore. and before him there is no ceasing. He knows before the world was created what is forever and what will be from generation unto generation. Those who sleep not bless thee stand before thee, thy glory and bless, praise and extol, saying, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of spirits. He filleth the earth with spirits. And here my eye saw all those who sleep. Not they stand before him and bless and say, Blessed be thou, and blessed be the name of the Lord forever and ever. And my face was changed, for I could no longer behold. And after that I saw thousands and 10,000 times 10,000. I saw multitude beyond number and reckoning, and stood before the Lord of spirits. And on the four sides of the Lord of spirits I saw four presences, different from those that slept not. And I learned their names. For the angel that went with me made known to me their names, and showed me all of the hidden things. And I heard the voice of those four presences as they uttered praises for the Lord of glory. The first voice blessed the Lord of spirits forever and ever. The second voice I heard blessing the elect one and the elect ones that hang upon the Lord of spirits. And the third voice I heard pray and intercede for those who dwell on the earth, and supplicate in the name of the Lord of the spirits. And I heard a fourth voice fending off the Satans, and forbidding them to come before the Lord to accuse them who dwell on the earth. After that I asked the angel of peace who went with me, who showed me everything that is hidden, Who are these four presences which I have seen, and whose words I have heard and written down? And he saith unto me, The first one is Michael, the merciful and long-suffering. The second, who is set over all the diseases and all the worlds of the children of men, is Raphael. And the third, who is set over all the power, is Gabriel. And the fourth, who is set over the repentance unto the hope of those who inherit eternal life, is named Phanuel. And these are the four angels of the Lord of the spirits, and the four voices I heard in those days. Okay, next one's kind of a long one. I'm going to leave it right there. So again, more talk about the righteous, the wicked, the godless. So we just have to stay on track, folks. We just need to stay on track, because there's a promise here. The promise is that those who are staying on track, good things are going to happen. It's those who are off track, those who are misusing the energy, those who are hurting others, those who aren't believing in the power of God, those who are really kind of lost and confused. They're not going to make their way because things have changed. Light is returned. They're going to need to be recycled through the process. So just keep the faith, my friends. Keep the faith, because good things are happening. Now, this article kind of ties in. It's called The Amazing Power of Gratitude. It's from In5D. And it really kind of ties in, because the more grateful we are for the things that we have, the more that we appreciate. And if you think of appreciate, just think in terms of creating more. Where by appreciating something, something becomes more. So when we are grateful for something, we make more of what we already have. We make more of what it is that we're grateful for. So it says The Amazing Healing Power of Gratitude, from Kimberly Snyder. If you're alive and reading this, you have something to be grateful for. This article will give you support in practicing gratitude on a regular basis, so you can better heal yourself while lowering your stress and anxiety, enhancing your sleep, and improving your relationships. You may not realize that something as simple as expressing gratitude, something that costs nothing and takes very little time, can have such an impact on your health. Yoga masters have been teaching for centuries that gratitude is the key component of a happy, balanced, and healthy life. But it's nice to see that it's in alignment with modern findings. A comprehensive look at gratitude and its effects showed that when you routinely appreciate others, or even just the positive parts of your life, you can experience less aggression, heightened feelings of altruism, reduced symptoms of depression and anxiety, more trust in others, extra intrinsic motivation to do and achieve more satisfaction from relationships, better ability to deal with criticism, better sleep, lowered likelihood and development of a drug or alcohol problem, lowered risk of an eating disorder, and a quicker recovery from post-traumatic stress. The review suggested there could actually be a causal relationship between gratitude and well-being. That means increasing gratitude could directly enhance many different aspects of your life, most notably your health. Could there be an easy or more inexpensive way to enhance both your happiness and your health? Okay, sometimes gratitude can be challenging when you're feeling down, especially in the beginning, but with practice it becomes much easier, I promise. Training yourself to think this way only takes a few minutes at a time, per day or even per week. Eventually will help you to shift your whole perspective on life to a much more positive way. It says gratitude is a duty which ought to be paid, but which none have a right to expect. Okay, and there's more to the article here. I am going to, let's see, the last part of the article says, your whole outlook on life will change once you give yourself the nudge. You'll be better in so many different ways, and when you begin focusing on the positives, look at what you have, be thankful, and strive to reach out to help others and keep the goodwill going. The goodness in your life will blossom in even more abundance as you do. Now here's my turn. Here I'm sending gratitude to you for being part of this wonderful community. Okay, so here's a bunch of PDFs. So check it out. Links available at First Contact Radio, and you can get all of these links, these videos, or PDFs. Good information. Okay, so there you go. Gratitude. Remember, when you're grateful, you expand, you appreciate the energy around you. And that's a very important thing to be able to do, to appreciate, to make more of it, right? To make more of that good stuff that we want. And that brings us to our message for today, which today comes from Mother Mary. Here we go.
Mother Mary, you are love eternal.
August 17th, 2014. Channeled by Franzapeda. August 17th, 2014.
Mother Mary.
Greetings, beloveds, all my precious children of light and love everlasting. You are so precious to me. You are such holders of light and love. You are magnificent in the scope you span now, in as far as your reach to many, many hearts that need your love. And you serve in my name and in my care and with my example as you spread your love far and wide. There is no doubt that peace will prevail, dear ones. There is no doubt that you will continue to carry that torch high and with your eternal grace, my beloved children of light and love and peace. I adorn you now with my love and my steadfast faith in love everlasting. In love eternal. In magnificent grace and compassion that you hold deep in your hearts now, more than ever. That cannot help, to, be felt in all the world, in all the multiverse. And it is felt, and it is held high by many, many more, now that you have not given up or forsaken your mission, dear precious hearts. I adorn you with my love, yes, and I hold you close to my heart, and I am a part of you all now. I hold you closely to my heart as you hold me in yours, and together we are reforming the world, we are transforming the world, and never has there been as much progress. You have taken the torch of freedom and love and wielded it for all to benefit, and for that we are utmost grateful here in the higher realms. And soon we will not be able to differentiate your energy from ours because you are absorbing so much light and love, and rising in such elevated frequency, that you are feeling more and more at home in these higher realms from which we of the celestial realms speak. The transformation of the world that you hold in your hearts is becoming reality the more steadfastly you hold it there. So let no one tell you that you are not making a difference. Let no one show you otherwise. Let nothing get in your way of spreading this glorious potent energetic presence or signature that you are each attaining and developing with your acceptance of all the volumes of energetic offerings coming from on high, a presence that is like no other, and together you form a massive glowing ball of light expanding throughout this globe and all the multiverse. Bequeathed to you from time beginning, this potential of your individual energetic signature is coming online more and more as you allow the incoming energies to solidify and register within you. The light that you emit now because of this is immense, and no doubt many of you are glimpsing it when your eyes are closed and even now when not. You see it and you feel it, and the more you allow it to glow and grow, the more it will be apparent to all. We all certainly see it in these realms. It is a veritable glowing fairyland of light similar to a mass of fireflies as we view you all from on high, It is exquisite and beautiful, and I share this with you now because you need to know the impact of your growing and glowing light bodies, the impact of your developing crystalline structures. Allow yourselves now to intend more growth and more development of your crystalline bodies. The time is nigh to develop them more fully. And ask your guides to assist you in this. Ask all your celestial and galactic team to assist you in this. You are at the ready and you are merely to give the go-ahead for a deeper and more substantial development of your crystalline light bodies. So I continue to hold you in my heart as you go more through your transformation. As you surrender to it. As you revel in it. As you accept your transformation fully and completely with utmost grace and serenity. You are all my ambassadors of peace and love, and you carry the torch for freedom and love and peace for all, in the very transformation of your beings filled with love and pure crystalline light. So carry on, my beautiful beloved children of love and light everlasting. You are the world. You are the multiverse. You are love eternal. All my love. Mother Mary.
Alright, very good. Nice message from Mother Mary. She mentioned the gratitude, which is very important, as always. Alright, let's get to our meditation for today. So go ahead and close your eyes. And take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. And another deep breath. And exhale. And just focus on your breathing. Inhale and exhale. And imagine your breath like the tides of the ocean. In and out. And as you feel the in and out rhythm of your breath, just think of how there's an in and out rhythm of the universe. And the energy flowing in and out. And we see this rhythm of in and out in everything. We see the sun breathes in and out. So there are moments when the sun is more active and when it is not. We know there are moments when the sun and the moon breathes in and out. When the planets and the stars, when the energy around us breathes in and out. Everything breathes. And when we look closely, we could see things breathing all around us. And as we understand that we are part of this breathing of life, this inhale and exhale, we find ourselves getting in more synchronicity and rhythm with life. And the more in rhythm we become, the more we understand what is taking place in the world, that we might see the truth and navigate our way through the lies. So we look at the world for what is going on, and we look at the situations. And our minds are able to see clearly the places where we are being manipulated to think in certain ways. And we rise above the situation so we do not get caught up in those traps. We rise above the situations to realize that this is the world, a planet of oneness, where we are all here on a journey. And when we support and love each other, we make that journey much easier. And as such, we look and we can tell when there are lies being thrown out by those on the journey who do not have the higher information available to be able to know better, for whatever reason. So we send compassion out to those. And so we think about the places in the world where there is fighting, where there is warring, where there is anger, and we just send love. So let's just imagine right now sending love around the earth. Love out to Missouri. Love out to Iraq. And to Egypt. And to Italy. And to Greece. And to the United States of America. To Hawaii. To Japan. To Australia. Let's just imagine everywhere around the world. And just sending love there. And as we send love to all of these places, we see the darkness there dissipating. And we see the planet glowing brighter. And as the planet glows brighter, our brothers and sisters in the ships all around us understand that we are making an effort to rise above. And so as we send the love to the planet, we understand also that they too are sending love to us, to assist us. We send love to them in gratitude. And we send gratitude to the earth for all the support that we have been given over the years and years. And so we just think a good thought for the world today. That on this day, people operate and act with a calm, clear, focused purpose. That peace becomes sought out today, and violence and anger is pushed aside and dissipated by love and compassion and understanding. So let us just think all these good thoughts for today. Let our subconscious mind continue on this journey of thinking good thoughts. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Keep your eyes closed. And just think of this affirmation for today. I choose to make positive, healthy choices for myself. And know that as you make these positive, healthy choices, it affects all perspectives that you have. Let's take one more deep breath. Exhale and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That is our show for today. Thank you very much for being here. Let's just keep paying attention to what's going on. We know that there's a false narrative that's being told to the people. But we know that there's a lot of good people in the world that want to know the truth. So let's just keep shining the light on truth. Standing in truth. Sending out love. And let us know that we can make a difference by doing that. At the very least. That's it. Y'all have an awesome day. I love you. Keep loving each other. And I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. That's it. Peace. I'm out of here.